Today in the crypto space, we see the market looking pretty good. Bitcoin right around 97,500, getting a bit of a pop to the upside. Ethereum also holding steady right around 2,700, but some of these altcoins are looking pretty good. Look at Sui, we have Litecoin, Aptos, and a few others getting nice bounces to the upside. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one project, one altcoin that is definitely bleeding out, however, showing some support. That project is called ICP. So you know what? Let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike. Let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome on the channel. We talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunity. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of the volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 8 p.m. EST, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below. You can hit me up on the socials. The links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. All right, guys, let's begin. Let's see what's going on here with this market. Given the fact that the market is being very slow lately, we are seeing some of the altcoins show a little bit of strength. And again, I'm not going to over exaggerate. The reality is, the market in general is down. However, signs of proof of life is always nice, right? To see a bit of trading volume would be also very nice. Right now, we can see the volume kind of still flatlined here. Market cap is creating a nice little rounded scenario here. Maybe a rounded bottom, maybe looking for a nice reversal here, right? Maybe we get an uptick in volume. A lot of maybes, uncertainty. The reality is that we're certain that the crypto space has a lot of opportunity, but we're not certain if the opportunity is now. And instead of trying to time the market, the best thing to do is figure that eventually we should get a pop. Eventually we should get some good price action in our favor. We have to look for nice structural supports. We got to look for good risk to reward ratios. And of course, that's what we do here on the channel, guys. If that is something that you're interested in, finding good opportunities from positions of strength, join me live tonight at 8 p.m. EST. We'll talk about lots of different projects. And of course, I'll be taking requests. So if you have any, that is a good time and place to make those requests. All right, guys, let's creep through the top 100. Let's see what we got here on this 1 hour fractal. You can see that the general market is kind of going sideways. I see Tron picking up. These upticks in Tron are quite interesting because usually you get an uptick in Tron when there's a lot of transactions on Tether. Tether and Tron have that relationship. So I'm quite interested in seeing Tron pick up that volume and pick up that, price of 24-hour price action to the upside is looking pretty good. What else do we got here? We got a few pops upwards. AVAX, as you can see, the 1 hour fractal is not that bullish yet. However, this roundedness that we're seeing across the market is not bad because a lot of these projects, if you're looking at the price action, they've got V recoveries already from that major dip that we already had. And we are waiting for around the bottom to get confirmed. And I can see this based on the 1 hour. And this is the bottom of that rounded bottom that we're looking for. Look at Sui. Up 6-7%. Not bad of a move, right? We got some others. Litecoin breaking out 12.5%. And the list goes on. Rounded bottoms are everywhere right now. So I can see a little bit of bullishness. I'm curious to see how we close the daily candle. Maybe tomorrow might be a great trading day. We see a bit tensor waking up 7.7%, a nice pop to the upside. Most of these projects are nowhere near bit tensor's scenario. Right now, it does look like it wants to break above the previous high. And all of the other pumps that we're talking about here, you can see it's still struggling in changing character, essentially making a higher high. Filecoin is looking pretty good, obviously, with that rounded bottom. Cosmos is looking pretty good with that rounded bottom. Lots of rounded, even FET, a few rounded bottoms across this market. Guys, choose your rounded bottoms wisely because even, for example, Sonic right now, Phantom, 8.3% to the upside today, showing a lot of strength. Considering that it's been on a downtrend and showing a lot of weakness, big picture, now all of a sudden we could be looking for a pivot point where we start changing direction and reclaiming previous price action. So this is super important, guys, because if you're waiting for bottoms, little by little, we are seeing indications of bottoms. And this is the time where you should start saying, you know what, maybe I'm not going to catch this bottom, but at least let me DCA and gain some exposure to some of this volatility and to the upside. GRT is looking good, and as we keep on going down, you can see the market in general is doing okay, guys. Maybe a few rounded more bottoms, maybe we start breaking out here. Generally speaking, we can see the market's up approximately 3 to 5%, give or take, depending on the project you're looking at, but looking pretty good. All right, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts, so let's begin talking about Bitcoin, and then we'll talk about ICP. The only reason why I want to talk about Bitcoin first is because it is a great leading indicator. If we do see the market still showing strength here, it is very, very possible that we will see an altcoin season. And of course, Bitcoin showing strength means that we're going to have more capital into the market, and rotation eventually brings a lot of eyes onto the altcoin market. And this is why Bitcoin at the current moment is very, very important. Let's take a look at this in a little bit more detail. The reason why I think it's super important right now to be tracking Bitcoin is because of the sentiment. You know, really, people are a little bit fearful, uncertainty, and doubtful that the market is going to give us a continuation of a bull run. And never mind a bull run, an altcoin season. Now, we don't want Bitcoin dropping. We don't want Bitcoin, falling to lower levels. We want Bitcoin to show strength here, because ultimately a strong market means that there's still a potential altcoin season that we're waiting for still. So if you look here on the daily, we're still fine in the chop zone. In fact, we're holding up this level. I'm not totally convinced that we're going to hold up here, because on the daily, the trend is still our friend, and the friend is to the downside. The bear right now is our friend, unfortunately. If you look at momentum, the momentum right now, it's actually quite interesting, because we are desperately holding this level of support right here at 42%. If it breaks below the 42%, guys, it's likely that we see this expansion continue to the downside, and the trend going from overbought to oversold is what we need to fear at the current moment. That's the insecurity that we should have in going to fresh longs. If you get into a fresh long right now, the issue that you're dealing with is this going sideways in the chop zone. This is very typical, and then a full reset coming down here, and that will cause Bitcoin to drop probably back to about 92, and maybe worse, you never know. But then what is going to happen to the altcoin market, guys? You know what happens to the altcoins. They're going to get totally spanked. They're going to definitely be coming down to much lower levels. However, guys, as long as we stay in this range, we're doing okay. And we can see that it's possible that we gain some support. Of course, we're, being a little bit hopeful here. Let's take a look at the momentum. The momentum is still facing down. We're slowly rounding off here, and maybe going to be looking for an EMA cross or something like that, but it's still too early to tell. You can see that the bears are still in control here, and that's the concern, that the bears are still in control. So if that's the case, don't take too much risk. I understand that the volatility is oversold right now. We could be pushing to the upside very soon, but the momentum is still stuck in the chop zone. If we look at the 4-hour, the 4-hour right now is looking interesting, because we are seeing momentum definitely in an uptrend. You can see that oversold and definitely in a slight uptrend. Do we get overbought on the 4-hour? Ideally, yes, but ideally we can catch a bottom on volatility. The orange line, let it come all the way down here, and then we can long in the same direction as the momentum. Longing in the same direction of the momentum will give you an edge. And if you start looking at what's going on with the trend, EMAs are facing up with green histogram bars, and we got a purple expansion in the works at the current moment. So everything's looking good on a 4-hour trade. Not so much on a daily trade, but the 4-hour is looking great, looking fine if you want to take a bit of risk. Now, you have to also understand that we can start to show a lot of strength in the 4-hour, and it could cause a pivot on the daily, and in fact a complete pivot where we start to look super bullish on the daily. And if we look at the price action again, because price action is king, and this is what I mentioned before, look at the Adam and Eve that could possibly be being painted here. And I mentioned this many times on the Discord and here on the channel. Adam and Eve patterns are great structural pivot point patterns. You can see that V recovery, and now a nice beautiful accumulation, rounded bottom to get back up to this level and start looking for a break of this neckline. We break that neckline, guys, it's likely that we start seeing Bitcoin go back to range highs. 110K is very possible, and then then we're in a breakout price discovery scenario. Now, I know I'm being a little bit hopeful here, but the reality is this scenario is very possible. Now, the worst case scenario is that this becomes a trap. We come down, the bulls get trapped for this pump, and then all of a sudden we come down to range low, which is 92K. So what you're going to have to do is understand that your invalidation right now for this bullish thesis, this Adam and Eve, is this structure, and the neckline or the invalidation is this thick white line. Okay, so we come below that, and that price is at about 95,200 or 300 more or less, right around here. If we break below and close a daily candle, guys, you have to understand that the market is looking for a full dip all the way down to 92, and that is also a very critical level to anticipate either support or a continuation to the downside. Now, this is Bitcoin. Now, I know a lot of you guys are watching this for ICP and probably saying, why are we talking about Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin is the leading indicator. If Bitcoin is showing strength, can you imagine what's going to happen to a project like ICP or any other altcoin that is showing strength? Right? So obviously Bitcoin pops, Bitcoin shows strength, people start front running, and we'll start looking for altcoins that are showing strength as well. Let's take a look at ICP. Now, you might look at it big picture. A lot of us look at big picture charts and start looking at, what is this chart really showing us as far as cycles go? You can see that this was the accumulation range. After running up to this level, I was like, guys, if we come back into the zone, I would like to see how the market reacts or how the price reacts at certain zones. And this is my zone right here in the yellow box. We fell into the yellow box, and as it was falling, I was very, patient to see what was happening. Now, I'm interested in accumulating a little bit of ICP. That's the realities. I got my first entries right around here. I did take profit here a while back, and now I'm interested in reaccumulation. But I'm waiting for some good confirmation. But at the same time, I don't want to be greedy. In the sense, if I'm going to buy, I have to understand that I may not catch an absolute fire sale bottom, because this could be it. Now, mind you, if I do miss out on my entry, I'm also okay with that. It's not that I'm not okay holding. I would love to hold. However, guys, I'm not willing to take chances on buying high prices. I know for a fact at this current moment, I am not exit liquidity. If you buy right now, you're not buying tops, guys. You're buying a pretty fearful zone. So the reality is that at this level, if we close a daily candle, we continue closing daily candles, which I'm going to zoom in a second. This is a great horizontal support. The weakness comes in once we start looking to hunt liquidity at these levels right here, because this is going to be a very emotional zone with lots of market participants buying into these levels and holding right now after a pop. And if nobody took profit out of these individuals, they're greedy, and the market tends to go and induce a bit of pain on greedy individuals. So guess what? The worst case scenario, we come down a little bit more, but based on this horizontal support, guys, it's looking pretty good. We got bottoms. We have a bit of an emotional level, a good level of volume to hold up a support. So we're doing okay. Right? So good volume also right into here. Nice spike of volume right into this level, suggesting market participation, which is really nice. Profit takers got to take profit, let them do their thing. And then if we continue looking at and start zooming in, we can see what the daily time frame has been showing us here on ICP. It's basically saying that ICP is still in a downtrend. And we get that, guys. We understand that the general market is in a downtrend still, and we kind of expect ICP to be in a different scenario. Now, what we could expect also is a bit of structure, and we are getting a bit of structure and at horizontals, which is ideal. And we see the daily closing multiple daily candles above the horizontal, which is at about 6.60 cents, $6.60. Okay, if we can continue here, that's great. We're starting to build confidence that we're not going to fall below, right? That's pretty good. So you're in validation. Similar to what we talked about Bitcoin, the invalidation is very clear. If we drop below $6.60, $6.50, more or less, put a stop loss. You want it to be tight, that's fine. Could we get another liquidity hunt? Could we come down and sweep the lows once again? All that is very possible. So you got to be really strategic as to where you're going to put your stop loss. But personally, I'd rather get an entry that is a slightly better, perhaps, unless you plan on DCAing, buying a little bit here, buying a little bit here, buying a little bit here. But the reality is that this is the daily time frame. If we do get a good bounce on the daily time frame, I feel like if we come back to this trend line, this would be another opportunity to take a bit of profit, expect a bit of a dip, and then maybe expect a massive breakout. Look at the volume gap right here. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take away this yellow box because it's distracting. And I'm going to just show you what I see. This volume right now is going to fill up this volume gap. As you can see, there's a node of volume here. This is an order block that definitely, you know, caused the people to hold and do a round trip, and now they're getting liquidated, they're getting wrecked, all these people, right? A lot of fear based on that. But if you exclude it, you can see that if we get a bounce, we can jump straight to about $8.60, which is a great trade. Ultimately, we bounce, you can get to this level, exit, take a bit of profit. Maybe it does break the trend line, then we back test the trend line, and then we start going for higher highs and higher lows. And basically what we're going to try to do here is basically change direction. We want to get a change of character, and that would be an ideal confirmation at this zone to suggest, look, we're ready for a bigger move to the upside. So yeah, maybe you're trading lower time frames, but what we want is a higher high or a high, come down for a higher low, and then maybe go up for a higher high, and that would be super good. And maybe we even come down for a back test, and you start to see, you know, the markets kind of move in their own a little way, and eventually you start to see market structure shifting to the upside. It doesn't have to be like this, but you get what I mean. A little pop, maybe a rejection, maybe a pop upwards, and so on. And then we start to look at this as a nice pivot point rounded bottom type of scenario. Maybe we get a cup and handle, maybe we get inverse head and shoulder, maybe we get an Adam and Eve structure. The reality is this is the time to expect it to happen if you're trading this zone. Again, if Bitcoin holds that bottom, it's likely that ICP will also hold this bottom. And because it's lower market cap, and because, you know, it is an altcoin, and a lot of people are, you know, trying to get their positions ready for a potential altcoin season, you know, taking a bit of risk right here is ideal. Okay, so let's take a look at oscillators here for a second. You see that the daily momentum's almost oversold in a very good way. So we're in a very critical area here for ICP on the daily. I can see this getting a pivot point structure any moment now. You know, even if it gets a quick recovery, that's great, but a pivot point structure would be absolutely great, because it's likely to give us a sign of bullish divergence. Right now, I'm not seeing any sign of bullish divergence here on the daily time frame. If you look at all of this, the momentum is still dripping while the price action is dripping, and we can kind of see the same thing also on the trend. Not really, we got a bit of divergence, but we almost invalidated it. You know, it's looking okay, but I would like to see an EMA cross, some green histogram bars, and to be honest, I would love to see the EMAs break into the bullish control zone, which is above the 0 mark. That's what I would love to see. And of course, until you see those scenarios, you got to be patient. Like right here, you can see that we came up, bullish control zone, back test, and then this was a nice expansion. You start to see it move like that, right up to the upside. Imagine if we get the same thing, a nice move upwards. You can definitely take some profit and be very profitable with that scenario, right? So the daily is looking good, both momentum and trend, and horizontal support is being respected as we speak. So you know you're in validation. Your validation, again, is below the 650, breaking below the 650. Now, also, in addition to this, if we start looking at the 4-hour, you can see that the trend that or the structure that I'm talking about is quite clear. Let me zoom in a little bit more and highlight the importance of what we see. You can see that the triple tops, quadruple tops, as many tops as you see here, there's quite a few, and the nice little rounded bottoms. This looks like a complex, you know, pivot point. You can see the double bottom and then more shoulders and shoulders. Is it a complex inverse head and shoulder? It doesn't matter. Ultimately, what we want is a break above this white line. We break above $7.22 more or less. While we were getting a bit of divergence here, you can see we got a double bottom on the price action, and the momentum is moving to the upside. Look at the expansions. The expansions are slowly tapering in. Look at that one, and then starting to look at that one. As the price is coming down, the expansions are moving upwards. Momentum is moving upwards. Volatility is moving upwards, and trend oscillator is moving upwards. So there is divergence. The only thing is that we're waiting for is a major follow through, because the follow through usually happens when we break above the chop zone, above 50%. You have to understand what the momentum above 50% really does. So you got to be patient here. If you're trading the lower time frames like the 4-hour, the 1-hour, something like that, you got to understand that this is usually a pit stop, or a level of which we eventually consolidate and then break. You can backtest this idea. Every time we start to leave the chop zone and we move to the upside, and especially we break above 70, that's where the majority of the gains are at. So if you get shaken out in the chop zone because of sideways price action, that is very unfortunate. This is where usually people get shaken out of the market. And this is why I choose not to trade when we're in the chop zone. In fact, when we're in the chop zone, I might build a position on spot, but I would not be trading high leverage. So at this current moment, I'm expecting, if this is supposed to work out and we see the momentum get overbought here on the 4-hour, I'm expecting a breakout here. We do get a bullish divergence. We're getting a bit of follow through right now. If we break the tops and we break these necklines, we start moving to the upside, and again hitting the bullish target, which might hit the trend line and obviously come around this level, which again is at about $8.50, $8.40. Guys, front run those take profits if anything. And if you want to hold a longer term bag for, you know, on spot or anything, guys, that's a better idea instead of taking major leverage positions, because ultimately there's a lot of work that needs to be done, not just from ICP but the entire market in general. Guys, just zoom out a little bit and see exactly what the market is working on. We are still on a dip, a pretty big one, looking for a nice bottom for support. Okay, so what you're trying to do is trade your way out of maybe some red positions. Maybe you're trying to build a bigger bag on spot of ICP by trading the lower time frames with ICP, and that way, you know, you can prepare yourself for a bigger move to the upside, which obviously, guys, big picture is to see ICP reclaim the previous high at $20, and obviously coming back, and you never know, guys, where ICP could end up going. The tech is decent, the community is good. You know, obviously there's some people that are not crazy about ICP, but the reality is, because of it's all because of price action, where it came from. You can see that dip was significant, the sell-off was significant, and all of that. There's still a lot of salty people that are not quite happy with the ICP performance. All right, guys, so let me know in the comment section below what you think about ICP. And of course, if I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor, slap the like button. It does really help out with the algorithm. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description. Better yet, guys, join the Discord. The Discord is where it's at. Lots of good alpha, trade setups, fundamentals, and learning material. The best part is it's absolutely free. Take care, guys, have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.